Welcome to Game Set Matchup, the podcast where we talk everything partnerships, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hello everyone, I'm Carl Busby, your host of Game Set Matchup, and on today's episode we caught up with Brittany Atkins, who is the head of growth at a software company called Streamtime. Streamtime primarily work within the creative industry and are helping businesses buy their software to help manage their projects, teams, and their business overall. She shares her top tips on how to build a good culture within a team, and also how to help your co-workers or direct reports really sort of try and become high performing. We also touched on ways of helping to make sure a partnership can be long lasting, and that there is, no magic sort of bullet for this. It requires, a lot of groundwork, but the end results are much better when that's put in. So stay tuned to find out what her top tips were on this, and enjoy this week's episode. Okay, hello everyone, welcome to Game Set Matchup. So this is our podcast where we discuss all things partnerships. I'm your host, Carl Busby today. And with this podcast, maybe you're new to the partnerships world, looking for a bit of advice how to get started, or you could be an experienced pro, just looking for a bit of inspiration or direction, whichever one is. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please welcome our guest today, is Brittany Atkins. She's the head of growth at Streamtime. Hello and welcome, Brittany.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. So as we will do what we usually do, we like to just get to know our guest a little bit better. So would you mind sort of telling our listeners just a little bit more about yourself, maybe a bit about your background, a bit about the current role, and then sort of what is Streamtime is all about?
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. So like you'd very kindly introduced me as, my name is Brittany, head of growth at Streamtime. So my background has always been in sales. I've went straight into sales from university. Although thinking about it, I was selling when I was in school, selling jewellery on the school playground. That was my very first sales role. Nice. I progressed to selling at school fetes, and I was actually very successfome. Me and my bestie at the school fetes, in kind of comparison with the other mums on their stalls that were turning over 30 quid. We'd take £300 home. I mean, you're 14.
Wow. That's right? a big bit of cash. You must have thought you were rich.
If I'm honest, I think I peaked then, and I've been trying to replicate that success ever since. So I've sold always B2B. I've sold internet connectivity, data center space. My previous role was in public relations, and now I'm at Streamtime. Streamtime's a project management software specifically for creative agencies. We have two really strong focuses, and that's on happy people and healthy profits. So that's what we give a damn about, and that's what I'm currently selling in my role.
Nice. I think with I guess the background a lot of the time has sort of come from a sales background. I mean, obviously I know your title's like obviously head of growth, but like anything sort of in that sort of partnership space, a lot of people say they do come from from sales, and you got to start somewhere, right? So selling, whether it's at school, whatever, it's all part of learning a trade. So
funny enough, I was just about to say on that as well. It's only in recent years that I've really respected my sales experience, which I know is not something we was necessarily coming on to speak about, but I just think it's interesting that you'd said that. So I used to have the awkward, if I told people that I worked in sales, and I hope not to offend anyone, the first things that I would usually say was like, not like a car salesman, or not like an estate agent, or not like a recruiter.
I know what you mean.
Can typically be seen as perhaps a bit annoying and a bit pushy. Yeah. And it's only in recent years that I've realised how valuable sales experience is. And I think a big part of partnerships and growth is ultimately it's growing the business, right? And selling is a part of it. And I can now see, for founders, for CEOs, for heads of departments, if you're representing a brand, sales experience is a great thing. So even though my title now and responsibility now is head of growth, I still see myself as a salesperson. Really, I'm selling Streamtime to grow Streamtime as well.
No, absolutely. I think we have this conversation quite a lot of people. Sales. Time it gets mentioned, still sometimes considered as a little bit of a sort of dirty word. Obviously, you mentioned some of the titles there, which obviously people do sort of go, "Oh, okay, we know." It's just got that stigma sort of attached to it, but. It's like anything, if you just draw it back, any company, you're selling something, whatever it is, it has to be a sale of some sort, right? So, people just have to remember that, cool. So obviously we're all about partnerships, trying to help business, obviously, create those partnerships. So with Streamtime, and obviously the time was since you've been there, what's the sort of approach at the moment, like in terms of how you would go about, looking to sort of potentially create partnerships, or like you said, obviously it's sales, but like, to bringing this to another company. And then like for you, I mean, you mentioned this is aimed at creative sort of companies, but just like what does a sort of gold star partnership look like for Streamtime, if you can have one?
Yeah, really good question. So I think the big change is that we've got to focus on partnerships at the moment, which we didn't really have before. Yeah, I think previously the partners that we have are very much based on our former founder and the relationships that he had, which I'm sure is very similar for a lot of young companies. Yeah. So that's, that was more around what was his world and his network that we had partners in. One particularly great partner of ours that we've had for a long time now is the WOW Company, national firm of accountants. They're very invested in agencies similar to us. They do fabulous research annually on benchmarking agencies. That aligns really nicely with our healthy profits, also being invested in the industry ourselves. So that has stood the test of time and proves to be a really successful relationship and partnership. To your point on what a gold star partnership requires, I think most of all, it's your values aligning really, really deeply, because that's going to mean the relationship is going to maintain and last and stand the test of time. I think my CEO is very good at challenging me on this. He's a good person to keep me in check when it comes to potential partnerships. I'm head of growth, I'm a sales girl, and I'm an optimist. I see shiny things and I want us to go after them. And he does a good job of digging deep on, like what are their values today? What are their values going to be tomorrow? Do they really align? Is this going to be a long-standing relationship? So it's good for me to have those conversations with him.
Yeah, nice. No, I really like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. If you are going to potentially partner with someone, obviously that's potentially going to be a long-term thing. You want to make sure that both parties are aligned, sort of now, sort of for the future. Otherwise, obviously, it can go a little bit peak tong, shall we say?
Yeah, especially in hard times, right? Because it's easy to align on things when things are easy.
100%.
We're living through very uncertain times. No. So what does a business do when it gets to some sort of crunch point and it has to make a difficult decision? Does it make a decision that's going to work, along with what you would hope to do in those situations? So, I think that's super important.
Yeah, no, I agree. So just sort of staying on the subject sort of partnerships, obviously you've talked there obviously a little bit about what a sort of gold star partnership looks like in terms of how you sort of go about creating them. So I think at the moment, I mean, again, obviously is what we obviously do at Finder. We're trying to help businesses get those first discovery calls to be able to talk to people, talk to businesses who may not necessarily have thought there was like synergies there or potential partnerships, which is a great thing. But for you now, how are you sort of going about, looking for those sort of partners in terms of, is it just like more down sort of through referrals or, I guess, obviously a lot of people we talk to, they obviously go to events and sponsorship, that kind of stuff. But sort of like what's sort of been your sort of main sort of way about going about actually, going to create and meeting other businesses?
I think this is a really common question because people hope there's going to be a really simple answer. And there isn't. It's Finder. And Finder is the only easy answer you're going to get. Other than that, and you can hear, I've got my dog snoring dramatically because he's bored.
I can't hear anything, but no, it's fine. My
dog is bored of listening to me all day. It's a lot of hard work and graft. And this for me is where my new business background really helps me out. Mm-hmm. Previously to this role, I'd never had leads or a marketing budget. It was just go out and find a new business, right, and then go make them like you, and then win it for us. So which is tough, right? But if you put the work in, it pays off. So I think you've got to be realistic with how much time it requires, and then how much time it's going to continue to require from you. Yeah. It's all about just, it's real common sense. I think people ask the question because they want to hear that there's an easier answer. Yeah. But for me, if you're doing it by yourself, it's like using LinkedIn. It's looking at new companies that are coming out and about. Yep. It's looking at companies that are very busy and active at the moment. They're probably more interested and open to partnerships at this moment in time. Yeah. See who they're going after. Yep. Is your mission going to align with their mission? Yeah. Are you going to both be pulling in the same direction? All of that stuff. And if you think you've managed to qualify it from looking at them, then you've got to be brave and you've got to put yourself out there. Put your best foot forward. Yeah. Try to meet with people in person when you can. Yeah. Try to offer some value back, so you're not just asking for someone's time. Yeah. I think it's grafting. Yeah. Really is what it is. So if you want the simple answer, then go to Finder. It's going to save you a lot of time.
So first of all, so we don't say this is not designed as a trick question or anything.
Yes, I've been paid for this podcast.
Exactly. But it's just it's a genuine question because like I said, we know the answer is not easy, and obviously this is why we like to ask actual real people. We don't just say it ourselves. Who are in the roles, and like I said, how what sort of tools and what are people sort of using to do that. So, but yeah, I said, I agree. I said there's no magic. There's no magic answer.
I can probably add one tip, which is just keep expanding your world of opportunity as much as you can. So do attend events, and when you're at events, please do not hide in the corner of them. Go speak to absolutely every person in the room. It doesn't matter if that person in the room isn't who you're looking for, or and you're not what they're looking for, but they will know another bunch of people, and often good people want to help other people out. So it's only and it's the same advice I offer to people when they're looking for a new job. It's the same advice I offer to people when they're looking to make sales. Yeah. Let people know what you're interested in. Let people know what you're looking for, and they might just know someone and be able to help you put the pieces together. No,
100%. No, it's a great tip, and I mean that's kind of what we talk about here at Find, in the sense of sometimes you may look at profile on the website, you think, oh, this isn't for me, or they're not sort of looking at it, but we've had multiple times where we've kind of spoken to them after and said, look, oh, there's actually they're seeing this sort of connection, or they have a link to someone else who may be able to potentially help. Now, obviously, they didn't see that initially through the profile, and that's what we help to do, a lot in the sort of background. So yeah, I totally agree on that. Moving on quite nicely, especially with on the tips subject. So obviously, I always say to guests, you look very young, but when you first started out, would any advice or you would give yourself, again, sort of like top tips to someone just starting out. So if someone's listening to this podcast and they maybe they're thinking about partnerships, they've heard this term partnerships before, but they don't really know obviously too much about or how to sort of get into it. Any sort of anything you would give as a tip to yourself, like if you were starting out again. Or starting out fresh, your younger self.
Yeah, 100%. And I think similarly it works in new business as well. So you can get two birds in one stone with this tip. It's got to be a long-term strategy. It's if you're thinking about I need to close X amount of deals in the next week, or grow the business to this size in the next week, and is a partnership going to help me do that? I think really unlikely. If you're thinking about how am I going to get a steady flow of new business opportunities over the next 12 months so that I can sleep at night because I'm not stressed, because I don't
I like that.
And so that my boss can have confidence in me that I'm, repeatedly performing well. That's where partnerships are going to work well for you, but it is going to require time. So Streamtime now has, I'd say, like a handful of business advisors that we're working fairly regularly with now, which is great, which has come from attending networking events and just speaking to people, and then thinking like, oh, Streamtime might be good for one of my clients actually. And then maybe get in touch with me every couple of months with one or two new customers that they're working with. You know, it's not something that's going to help me hit a revenue target overnight or within the same month, but it's definitely helped us build our revenue over the course of the year. So really think about it as a long-term strategy. So then it has to be, I'm coming back to it being realistic again. Are you going to have time to put into these relationships this month, next month, the following month? How do you make sure you have that? And one that I often like to remind people of as well is make sure in that partnership that the people actually doing the work know who you are and know what you're about and care and are invested. Don't just think about the leadership team, whoever the decision maker is with regards to the partnership, because if it's not them on the front line, if it's not them making introductions, speaking to clients, it was a great idea and it hasn't been executed well. So whether that's going to be offer demos to their teams, you know, a social, so you get to meet each other and care about each other as individuals and find out how you can help each other, whatever it is, but make sure everybody in the organization is invested, or at the very least the people that are on the front line and having the conversations.
No, good. Nice. Some really good, good advice there. I think the key thing taken that is, like you said, it's not, you know, they're not quick fixes, you know, in terms of, oh, let's just quickly, we're going to do this and let's get this deal over. Like, you know, the partnerships just don't work like that. We see that a lot here at Finder as well, in terms of people have conversations and then things, you know, sometimes they take time to go. You know, it could be maybe a few months down the line, and then they're like, you know what, we're ready. You know, this is going to work now, and you know, away you go. So something I've learned myself, obviously, since being a Finder as well. Just that's what you touched a little bit on it there, obviously, in terms of like talking about, you know, people who invest in and stuff. So in terms of your team, I'm not sure if you have any direct reports or people that report into you, but maybe it could be in a previous role. What sort of, you know, do you have any sort of like tips around, you know, having high performing teams, and obviously, you know, the culture, because obviously all businesses, you know, they tend to work well when people are happy and aligned, you know, and obviously we respect each other. So, but yeah, so any sort of like tips around how, you know, you can, you know, have sort of like, you know, high performing teams and sort of winning cultures like within, you know, within a business? Yeah,
I love this question. There's me about to say, I can definitely offer advice in this area, and I hope I can. It's all of me. Things are going well for the moment, so hopefully I can offer some good advice. So in my current role, I co-lead our customer success team in both the UK and Australia, alongside our head of operations. So I'm more helping lead the customer success team on the sales side, the onboarding side, you know, the more kind of client-facing part of the role. Okay. This is going to be like a long roundabout answer, but you've invited me on as a guest. So people can stop listening if they don't want to hear anymore.
They can just fast forward if they want something.
Yeah, just skip this bit if I'm rambling, because I often do. So I don't know if anybody listening has read the book, Simon Sinek's Find Your Why. I had the opportunity to take part in a workshop that was heavily based around that book in a previous employment. And that for me taught me a lot about myself and about my purpose in the workplace, which for me was really quite powerful. And my purpose came out as empowering others. So I think a lot of the success I've had in working in this role and previous roles in kind of creating high performing teams or driving performance in teams has really come from finding that kind of like thing, that secret sauce, that kind of thing that somebody might not yet have capitalized in themselves in their role. Bringing that out. So and that's, you know, and it also gives me so much back for me in my role. It's such an enjoyable part of my job. And I think stepping up and asking others to step up requires bravery. If there is no bravery involved, you're not really pushing yourself, you're not really challenging yourself, you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone. So then I would argue it's not high performance, it's just kind of mid performance.
Yeah.
And if you're asking others to be brave, you need to give them a safe environment to do that. So you need to not be afraid of failure. Absolutely. It's not going to work every time, right? And that's going to mean, I think, leading by example as well. So I've always thought it's part of my role, and it's probably part of my skill set as well, to be brave and do things that are a bit nuts at times, and put myself out there and just bite the bullet and do it. And you know, and be really transparent and authentic in doing so. In all honesty, I don't really know how to be anything but transparent and authentic. So that comes easy to me. It's like holding your hands up when you fail, learning from it, showing that it doesn't matter that much. You know, in reality, I think for a lot of businesses and a lot of people listening, you're probably not working within brain surgery or anything similar. Is it really life or death? No. Sometimes when a deal, sometimes you don't. Sometimes things work. Sometimes, as long as you keep learning from it, you're going to keep growing. You're going to keep winning. So I think that's really important.
I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Blah, blah, blah. I told you. No.
I thought you just left a little gap.
That was a comma. Follow my next point.
Go ahead.
Then the other recommendation I would make to everyone is, and I should have, if I was more prepared, I'd have thought about what it was called. So there's a documentary or a series of documentaries on Netflix. I want to say it's the like a coach's playbook to life or something around that. I'm sure we can
find it, and we'll link it. Yeah.
That we'll share a link. But anyway, there's the NBA coach, Doc Rivers, who leads the Celtics to their first NBA. And he talks about this lovely philosophy called Ubuntu, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly.
Okay. I think I have heard of this actually. Yeah.
It means I am because we are, which I think is such a lovely thing to live by as a team. And basically it's like, I'm better because we're better. You're better, I'm better, we're better as a team. So I think having that team mentality behind every success, you know, I have been able to be successful in my role today because you helped me do this. And because as a team, you picked up this extra bit of something for me or for someone else. So I think that's a nice way to turn it into a culture as well, you know, and to do something that you keep doing. And then the third thing I'm going to ramble on about is to win, you have to have a strategy, I think, for losing as well.
I like that.
That's just come out. If you want to, you know, caption that, we'll turn that into a little thing.
This is why we record, so we can go back and take some of these topics.
We can do that. So we're human, right? We can't win 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Right? It's life happens. Like, you were lovely we were meant to have this podcast a fortnight ago. And I just got you a message and I was like, I'm just having a really rubbish day. And I've got nothing to give today. And it wasn't particularly about anything. It might have just been the weather. Yeah. But I was just having a rubbish day. And if I'm honest, I'm having a bit of a flat month, which is, as you can probably tell from like this conversation, it's really not like me. I'm little Miss Sunshine. Usually I'm kind of,
I've met you in person, so I know. Yeah.
I'm running 110%. So it's not like me to be in a bit of a funk, but I've been thinking about this over the past couple of weeks because I've been thinking, how do I get myself out of this funk? And what am I going to learn about that for if and when it happens to my team? Because we're human, so it probably will. And we're on this great winning journey at the moment. We've had quarter after quarter after quarter where we've hit our target. We've hit our stretch target. We've gone beyond our stretch target. So we're running at that kind of trajectory at the moment, which is great. But we're going to have a month, we're going to have a quarter, something's going to happen. It might be internal, it might be external, but we might not be able to keep motivated and inspired just by that success. Yeah. So I think this is going to be, it's useful that I'm in this kind of funky mood currently.
because you're already preparing for the future, something rather than just
exactly. And it's like, how do we pick ourselves back up? Because I think that's really what winning is about. It's having the mentality and the strategy to pick yourself back up again. And luckily for me, I am an optimist, and
so am I.
I've never been too worried about losing, because I think about winning later and greater. So if I've lost, I'm like, I wasn't meant to win this one, because now I'm going to push. I'm going to push the benchmark up, and I'm going to win that one. So I'm going to win a little bit later on, but it's going to be a bigger achievement as a result. So I don't know what the answer is yet, but I think it's going to be important to, if you want to maintain a high performing team and a culture of winning, that you've got a strategy for when you lose. So if I come up with the magic recipe, I will write a book about it and
make some money.
Share it with you.
No, that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, lots of great advice there. I think obviously the first thing sort of touched on about being brave. I think that's a big thing. I mean, I think that's a natural thing maybe, because as we sort of we get older, and you talked about obviously having the right attitude towards things, and being uncomfortable is a good thing. I think when I was as younger, I hated that. I just wanted to just be I just want to be in that little bit. I don't want to just do my day to day, and that's it. Whereas you do realize that you just don't grow when you are feeling uncomfortable and you feel a bit under a bit of pressure, and it just it's like once you've done it, you do become stronger. It's a weird thing to explain, but you do become stronger out of it. I mean, mentally as well, you're just more sort of prepared. So really, also I really like that. Obviously, if you do write the book, let me sample it first before it goes.
I will be asking you to push it, don't you worry.
Cool. Just a last question. So just what if anything, do you think the future sort of holds for business when it comes sort of to creating partnerships? Obviously we talked obviously a bit about sort of how we're going about doing it, but do you think obviously things are changing? Obviously you said where we are at the moment, the market sort of stuff and things aren't great, so it's like we've had COVID, obviously. I know it seems like it was, I mean, people just forgot it even existed now, but sometimes I do, but we know that literally changed the world, made businesses and companies literally change overnight in terms of how they're doing things. I think maybe a lot of the technology and like the SaaS stuff wouldn't be here now if COVID probably not. I think it would have maybe come a bit later, but it's just everything got accelerated so quickly because I had no choice. Everyone had to start working from home and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, do you think, if anything, like, what do you think will sort of change in the future? Maybe like with your Streamtime, this might be part of what you're doing now at the moment, sort of in terms of the strategy. But do you think you'll be doing anything differently, in the future compared to what you're doing now?
I think it's a really good question. I think we're going to see partnerships be even more focused on alignment of values. And I'm thinking more about doing what's right for people and the planet is becoming more and more important. Absolutely. We're seeing that, it's not a new consumer trend, but we know that's really important for consumer purchasing behavior. Yeah. And ultimately, B2B relationships are just a collection of one people selling and dealing with a collection of another people, another set of people. Yeah. So I think we're just going to see that's more and more important. I don't think this is changing because, the world is changing, but I think this is just Streamtime trying to be more and more Streamtime, each and every month. We've recently partnered with Ecology, which is really exciting. If people aren't familiar with Ecology, it's a platform that makes impactful climate solutions just so much easier.
Yeah.
So for us, that will mean every new client that joins Streamtime, we've made a commitment to planting a mini forest of trees, which will be in their name. And we've got a digital forest, so we can see our seedlings grow and we can see the forest flourish. We're calling it the Feel Good Forest because it'll make you feel good from seeing it. Yeah. And, I really have the hope that we can make Streamtime a climate positive tool. So we're doing some work at the moment to understand what our carbon consumption is, and we're looking to become a B Corp, etc. I think it would be so cool to think that in the future, maybe if you purchase from Streamtime, you get to know you actually make the world a greener place. So even just neutral, but you actually make a positive impact on the planet. Streamtime already has the benefit of you make a positive impact for your people. Your people are less likely to burn out. Your staff are going to be happier. You're going to have more awareness of how busy your team are and how well they're coping. So we've got that impact we're already making. But it'd be just a really nice bonus to think that we're making a positive impact on the planet as well. So that will be I think we'll just see more and more businesses behaving that way. And for us, we just need to be giving more time to partnerships, which which is a Brittany responsibility. So hopefully I will do well in doing that.
I'm sure you will. Everything you've said in this podcast, I can't imagine why that would not be wouldn't happen. But just that last touch, I think I totally agree. It's so many companies nowadays, people do research and actually look into stuff like that to find out who they're working with, or if they don't agree with a particular company or business or whatever, then they won't necessarily take that. I think 10-15 years ago that sort of stuff didn't exist. Gas companies, electric companies, are they using renewable energy? All these sort of things will be the difference between someone, and like you said, it's just that feel. We want to know that we're doing something for the environment. So 100%. I think that's going to definitely be a key thing all businesses will be trying to tag on somewhere. Listen, come to the end. I obviously, as always, want to say thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us. I've thoroughly enjoyed
thank you so much, Carl.
Catching up with you. Obviously wish you all the best with Streamtime. And like I said, obviously we'll just keep in touch, see how things are going.
It's been a pleasure. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Carl.
All right. Thanks very much. Speak to you later.
Thanks for joining this week's Game Set Matchup. Tune in to hear more about the need to knows and the do's and don'ts when it comes to creating successful business partnerships.